So one of the things that I would like to do now is to get into just a little bit more of how you got here and what your background is. And this guy is a talented dude who does a lot of different things. And something else that we need to take away from this class, and I think we've talked about a lot, is that you cannot just be the one-trick pony, right? If you're just going to be a writer, I think that really limits what you're going to be able to do professionally. You want to have a lot of different interests and a lot of different talents and a lot of different expertises. Thanks.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what we're going for here. So let's go back. There's some questions that I always have to ask people. Okay. So how do you spell your name?
Laurent, and the last name is Che, Che, 3 letters. It's actually Cameroonian, which is
Very
in
cool.
West Africa.
Is there like an accent over the E?
There's not.
Oh, there's not. Okay,
There's
okay.
not, no.
That's good to know.
I'm not that cool.
And how? and that is not true. And how old are you?
27.
27. Babies. Just all just babies. You're 27, but you're not from Cameroon.
I'm not. No.
You're from?
I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
My father's from Cameroon. My mother's African American, from here in Cincinnati. He came here in like 1980, I want to say.
Now, I don't know if you know this or not, being from Cincinnati, but this is from an outsider's perspective, okay?
Yeah, I know it's coming.
Now,
Go ahead.
if you are from Cincinnati, is there a question that you have to ask somebody who's from Cincinnati? What is the
Miles
question?
knows.
Where'd you go to high school?
All right, there it is. I went to St. X.
The question is, where'd you go to high school? Thank you.
You went to
See,
St.
this
X?
is what we miss when you're not
Come
here.
on, Miles.
So, thank you, Miles. So, St. X
Yep.
High School. And, okay, so what's next? I'm going to slowly give this over to you guys. Okay, in the linear story that is Laurent Shea, what's next?
Where'd you go to college?
There we go.
Okay. So I did my undergrad at Kent State University, and I did my master's at Boston University.
Boston University.
Boston University.
And what was that undergraduate degree in?
Kent State was marketing, and
Awesome.
at Boston it was advertising with the focus in copywriting.
A focus in copywriting. Let's sink in for a second for everybody. Great. Okay. So when you were doing all this stuff, you know, you'd gone to Kent State, you chose marketing. I'm not sure why. I really don't know why actually. But so when you went to college, what did you want to be? What did you want to do? Why marketing?
So I knew that I wanted to do something in the creative realm, right? Obviously, when I was 18, I didn't know too much about what I wanted to do, what it actually looked like, but I knew I wanted it to have somewhat of a business dynamic and a creative dynamic, or
Cool.
maybe I should say a professional dynamic and a creative dynamic.
I would think that there are probably some people in this room who have those same interests.
Yeah.
And who probably don't know what that career could be. I mean,
Yeah.
there might even be things that don't even exist yet.
That's
You know?
true.
I mean, for me,
That's true.
my job really didn't exist when I was in college, you know.
This
Like a-
one,
like a-
I
like a-
never heard of it.
Like a social media person. That didn't exist when I was in college. We
Yeah.
didn't have social media. So, I think that's really interesting. And
Mhm.
then, when did that focus then become more clear? When did you decide to go to a very good graduate school and do what you did? How did that work out?
So I chose marketing because I thought that it was the creative side of business, right? I saw a movie called, anybody seen a movie called Boomerang? It came out the year I was born. My mom showed it to me. Eddie Murphy.
Is that Eddie Murphy?
Eddie Murphy,
Yeah,
yeah.
I remember.
And Robin Givens,
Mhm.
and he's a marketing exec.
A very young Halle Berry.
Yeah, very young.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good movie. Anyway,
No one knows this movie. Sorry, guys.
Anyway, so yeah, I saw it in high school, and I was like, oh shoot, I like how he's going to work in a suit, and then he's sitting in a boardroom, but his whole day is spent doing creative things.
Mm.
He's pitching campaigns for perfumes.
Mm.
He's working with the art director to create this huge campaign for, I don't know, I think it was like a clothing line or something like that, and it was all things that he was originating based off of what the client wanted him to do,
Mm.
and then he would execute it. Or I think, like I said, as a marketing exec, he would have the creatives execute it. I was, I'd really like to, get to that point. But then I kept hearing the term creative director. So from that point, I began developing my career with the end goal of becoming a creative director in some capacity.
Cool. Should I keep going, or do you guys want to take over? Oh, I'm doing good? I'm glad. I needed that confidence. So that's good. So you get to be you. You graduate, and then much like I think maybe some seniors in this, like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
So then where do you go after you graduate? After you got your graduate degree?
So I was pretty stuck for a little bit. So I graduated from Kent in 2015, and I knew that once I was getting into the more business-oriented classes of my marketing degree is when I was not very happy. I'm not breaking anybody's spirits right now, but it was a lot of analytics and the microeconomics and the statistics, and I'm just like, what have I done? And I'm struggling. I'm in tutors all the time, and I'm just like, this is boring, because the first year it's just stuff like this that I enjoy.
Cool.
The communication side of things, and just getting to learn the basics and the 4 Ps, and then it's like, oh shoot, I don't want to do any of this. And so the whole time I'm doing my degree, I'm involved on campus, doing spoken word around campus for different events. Got dancing with my dance crew that I was a part of on campus as well. So everything I was involved with outside of my degree was like on the creative side. So my only motivation to really continue to do well in my degree was so that I can continue to focus on what I was doing creatively. So I'm like, how in the world can I pursue these types of things professionally after I graduate?
Right.
So that's kind of where I began asking myself those questions, like, what can I do to incorporate this feeling that these things give me?
So then,
We got a question up here.
Oh, we do.
So what was the first step you took after you realized, okay, I was turning into
You
this?
sound like me.
Research is very important. Like I said, I'm a big movie buff, so I wasn't looking for movies to educate myself, but I just happened to come across them. Another one I had watched was What Women Want with Mel Gibson, like another older movie that was introduced to me.
I remember that one too.
And he was a creative director in an ad agency, and so that kind of led me a step closer. It wasn't to the full point, because the ad agency world, I realized in graduate school, was not for me either. It was a little bit too political. There were a lot of creative constraints, and I realized I was like, okay, I don't like the dynamics of this, but that's important because you want to figure out what you don't want to do, so you can figure out what you actually do want to do. And don't think that you won't like it. You have to actually try it so you can scratch it off.
Half people in this class are like, I don't want to be a writer now. They're figuring out they don't want to do it in this class.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good.
I'm really sad they know I laughed at that, because that just means it's right. That means it's true. Screw all y'all. So, did that answer the question? I don't want to interrupt.
Was that helpful? Okay.
So I think your was Champ your first job?
My first big boy job, yeah. So
Talk about that. I think it's a cool big boy job. Although you didn't like it, but
I did not. I liked certain aspects of it, right? And again, this is where you got to figure out, right? So my goal after I finished my master's was, I gotta get a company. I gotta get a job with a company like Adidas or Nike, so I could be be a copywriter for them, right? And we all know what a copywriter is. Okay. A lot of people think legal when they sometimes hear it.
Do you want to tell them real quick?
Yeah. So like in the ad world, you have the art director, you have a copywriter, and those two are like Batman and Robin. The copywriter is responsible for developing the text that promotes the campaign, the service or product that the agency is selling, and the art director is the one who creates the visuals and pitches the concepts for those visual concepts, whether it be print, video, things like that. Allstate, are you in good hands? A copywriter did that. State Farm, a copywriter wrote the script behind that. Flow and Progressive, a copywriter is doing all of that. And that's what I wanted to do. I would watch commercials and be like, oh, that's terrible, that's trash. Oh, no, I can do better, right? So that's what I was really motivated by. And that's really important to pay attention to what excites you, because I realized that most of my excitement came from visuals, like video, like writing for the purpose of video, a little bit of print, but mainly for video. So really take into, hey, what makes me get that, all right, I like this feeling in my gut? Because like sometimes it's really hard to find unless you really pay attention and put your ear close up to your passions.
Cool.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah,
Did you
sure.
always do spoken word, like throughout high school and stuff? Like, is that something that's come naturally to you, or?
So spoken word, I was 18 when I started. I started writing poetry when I was in 4th grade. Everybody took handwriting, right? Yeah. So this is another teaching moment actually. So I genuinely believe that who we're going to be down the road is already embedded in who we are as like children. So like when I go back and look at pictures, there was pictures of me in like cowboy boots with a guitar, or like there was pictures of me in pea loafers, dancing like Michael Jackson.
Do we still have these pictures?
Don't worry about that. It's no, that's neither here nor there.
I'd really like to pass this.
But and so I was in I think an English class. We had to do handwriting, and we just had to write just sentences. But I was crafting like whole stories about like show like things based off of shows that I enjoy, like some guy with a magical sword who would save, just writing crazy stuff, right? And my teacher would be like, you could just write neatly, you know what I mean? And I would be like, yeah, but that's boring. Or, I would, at St. X, where's Miles? At St. X, we would get an assignment, and they'd be like, hey, like, we need you to write about this, it's gotta be 1 page long. And I would end up writing, a poem to complete the assignment. So I was like, damn, okay, I really enjoy, storytelling in, original facets or, refreshing ways. And I completely forgot your original question. What was it?
It was just like, did you do it before college?
So then I started doing spoken word at 18 because I was like, oh, I really like this because I was writing, but I was like, I wonder what it sounds like out loud. And then I was like, oh, this is nice. Plus, I actually got into spoken word because I really enjoyed rap. I was not a rapper or anything like that, but I enjoyed bars. I was like, oh, that's fire. Like, oh, that's a hot bar. I can do that. And this is gonna be really weird, but anybody remember that show, Your Mama, with what's his name, Wilmer, whatever? I used to think it was so cool how they would just go head to head. Yeah.
Oh,
like,
right.
Yeah, everybody remember that? Okay, cool. And like Wild and Out, and like I just really used to enjoy the wittiness, the cleverness.
Now it's rap battles.
Yeah, now it's rap battles. Yeah. So I was like, oh, I can do that. So I started doing that, but then like poetically, and then started performing that, and then boom, boom, spoken word.
And you started to get a lot more dates after that.
That's neither here nor there.
Okay.
That's neither here nor there.
There's other motivations for these things as well.
Yeah. Did I answer your question? I feel like I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else?
What you got, Miles?
You like kind of briefly talked about your like first job after grad school, but can you like talk a little bit more about it?
Yeah. So, like I said,
How did we get along without it? That's what I'm trying to say. God.
Come on, man. Need some bombers in the room. It's okay. I graduated with my master's in advertising, and my goal was to work for a company like Adidas and Nike or this. And I thought that would be really cool because I wanted to make the commercials. I wanted to be the one pitching those ideas. And I got a lot of those in my head. So I got a job opportunity. I couldn't get a job, first of all. It took me a little while. I was at home for like 4 months after I graduated, which is normal. So never feel like you're just like a loser.
Did you know that 98% of Xavier graduates find a job within
I did.
How many months?
Within 6 months. Yeah.
6 months?
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have seen
So
that.
you were there. The 4 months
Yeah.
is fine.
Yeah.
Really?
Shameless plug there, but yeah.
But really, that's not bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but when you're in it, you feel like
all kidding aside, 4 months is not a big deal.
It's not. It really is.
But at the time, you're like, am I ever going to be employed?
Oh yeah. Am I ever gonna be employed? Loans are gonna be coming soon. I'm
Right.
broke. I'm in the basement. You're just feeling very down. Right? So, yeah. So I was applying all over the place. I'm like copywriter. I was applying for copywriter positions. I thought that's specifically what I wanted to do. And my plan was to do copywriter, elevate, creative director. That was the plan. So one thing I did learn in my master's program is I didn't want to be in an agency. I wanted to do creative for a company. So I got an opportunity. I applied for footlocker.com. And it was in Wausau, Wisconsin. their headquarters. And I'm like, what is
You know
Wausau?
where that is?
It's
Yeah.
very far away.
Yeah, most people have never heard of it. I had never heard of it. So I'm like, all right, what? They were paying me close to nothing. And I'm just like, all right, so I'm gonna have to, I'm taking one for the team. Right?
Sure,
Because this is Foot Locker, right? So I'm like, let me go check it out, see what it's all about. So I go out there, move out to Wisconsin, I got the job, and I'm a copywriter, and I specialize in writing copy for the websites, because their entire headquarters for their .com is located in Wausau, Wisconsin.
Why? Like,
I don't know. And
You are- Right, weird.
yeah, and I was placed on Champs. That was my banner. That was the brand that I wrote for. They felt I fit the demographic. And
Gotcha.
yeah.
How diverse of a place was Wausau, Wisconsin? Surprisingly?
No.
Oh, no.
There was
Oh,
there was there was 40,000 people in the city. There were 300 African Americans.
Oh my God, really?
And, a decent amount of Asians.
Okay.
Probably in the thousands range somewhere. Because there was something that happened after, like, I forget which war. But
They got an influx of,
yeah.
got it. So was that hard?
Oh, no.
You were in Boston for a while.
Right.
A little more diverse than Wausau, Wisconsin.
Well, you would think, right? That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
But no on that one either.
No, not when you're there, no. It was
Gotcha.
just me. Every class pretty much, so Boston made a lot of its money off of international students. So literally every class would be like 15 kids from China, Korea,
Wow.
Asia, somewhere. And then maybe like a guy from India. 2 girls from like New York, myself. That's pretty much every class.
Diverse in a different way.
Diverse in a different way, yeah.
So anyway, so you're doing copywriting
Mhm.
in a different place.
Yeah.
And
I'm not liking it.
not liking it.
I'm not liking it. It was
Can't be as creative as you want to.
No, I was put in a they're like, hey, we want you to write for emails and just write sell this shoe. And I'd be like,
Got
okay,
it.
what else?
Well,
That's it.
some of that had to be a little bit kind of cool, right?
I mean, I'm writing for Yeezys and like
That's kinda
the
cool.
new Adidas shoes. I'm seeing what's coming out. So like that was cool. That part was
Discount?
cool. Discount, yes. Yes, I did get a discount. My
Okay.
family was very fond of me. Yes. So yeah, that there were perks and everything. But like I said, it was a very small headquarters. It was ironic because the headquarters in New York had just won like some award for being the most, what's the word, high tech or state of the art facility for a corporation. And then we were in like an office type warehouse type space, which felt very weird. But you gotta pay your dues, and that's how I was looking at it.
Sure.
So every day is coming in doing copy for emails, and I would pitch ideas for like, hey, I got this really cool idea that I think we can do for Champs, because they're very active. They got like 1.3 million followers, so I'm writing for the Instagram, which was cool. That was really cool. But they really just kind of were like, nah, you stay over there. And I was just like, oh man, but I really want to. And that's when I realized this copywriting thing is just very, very small. Because I was pitching things for video. I was like, hey, we should do this for one of our segments on our YouTube. Because we're constantly working with different people. We do stuff with like LeBron James. We do stuff with, James Harden, all these different athletes and influencers, 2 Chainz. And we would bring them on for our segments for our YouTube channel, for Instagram. And I'm like, oh, those are really cool. I got some ideas too.
It's pretty cool, yeah.
And you're like, nah, I stay over there.
You were like pretty close.
Yeah.
But still really far away from doing what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Let me start one thing first.
Mhm.
So while you're kind of frustrated with the lack of creativity that you have going on in your professional job,
Mhm.
you seem to find, and I think it's very similar to myself and others that we know, we then use our creativity in other ways outside of the job.
Yeah.
What were you doing outside to kind of get that kind of creative thrill that you needed? Like, what were you doing? Were you making videos on your own? Were you?
Yeah, I was actually. So I was able to connect with a videographer out there, and he worked for Foot Locker as well. And I was
Also frustrated with what he was doing?
Yeah, a little bit less because
Okay.
there was a little bit more leeway with that,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, they had him traveling all over the place, and sometimes he was just, your very basic videographer. He couldn't have too much input, so I'm sure that was frustrating. But I connected with him and I was like, hey man, like you wanna do some projects? He was like, yeah, I've been wanting to do like some music videos.
Cool.
And I was like, cool, I like doing stuff like that. And so we started connecting. We just started making different videos, incorporating spoken word, dance, a little bit of music here and there.
Putting it up on your social media, doing that kind of stuff?
Yeah, social media, YouTube, things like that. He was making stuff for his reel, using things that I was doing. So it was kind of like a tip. And he lived like right downstairs, below me in my apartment, which we discovered like 5 months after work. I was like, hey, where do you live? He was like, oh, at this place. I was like, wait,
That's where
I live upstairs. Right now. So yeah,
Well, that's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
That was able to work out.
Yeah.
So then, so you're doing all this other stuff.
Mhm.
Flash forward to how did you find out about the Xavier opening?
Oh man, so I genuinely feel like that was divine intervention.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm getting fed up with like I'm away from the family. I'm away from
Right.
my now fiance here. Just out there for almost a year by myself, freezing. No offense. And and I'm just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I know what I want to do. The clarity that I got from Wisconsin was very important. So if you're ever going into a job
Right.
and you think like this is terrible, look at it as I'm getting so much clarity.
Yeah.
So now you know the things that you don't want to do. You know what they taste like, and as soon as it's like no, that's not it. Now you know, right? So I was like, okay, I want something where I can do copywriting. I do enjoy, being a wordsmith, something I can write scripts and still, make video content, because in my time after graduating in Kent, I was releasing a lot of short films and just, recruiting actors and just putting them out just for the sake. That's how she got me this job. And I wanted to do something where I could develop marketing campaigns on a broader scale. And my professors at Boston, I would, speak to them because they're in the industry. I'm like, hey, this is what I want to do. Here's my portfolio. Here are my interests. They're like, you got to narrow it down. You're doing too much.
The opposite of what we just said.
Yeah, the opposite.
They said you got to narrow it down.
Yeah, they're like, you got to chill. They got to chill.
How did you feel about that advice?
I had to be very confident that it was wrong, because this guy's the head high. Like he's
Sure.
like the most respected guy in the university. Been in the industry for years, worked with everybody.
You still didn't feel like he really knew.
No, because when you know, you know. You know what I mean? It's like when you got that gut feeling, like this isn't it. Like you know. And I could, So when he was so dismissive, I was like, nah, I'm good.
Right.
So I just, I was like, just kept pushing forward. And so fast forward, I just started doing research, and I was like, okay, I know I want to do content. I know I like producing. Maybe there's something called a content producer, like where I can do that, And so
at this point, we're looking for, what is it, about a year ago, I guess, now?
We'll say
when we came up with our need for people, it was probably a year ago.
Yeah. So I applied in December.
So we had a need for at least one person, maybe two people in our office, and there was a real debate as to what the title of the job would be. And I don't even know who came up with that. I think somebody in HR came up with content producer.
Not really. Shout out to them.
And we're like, what does that mean? I really don't know. But I think it means like whatever you produce, that's what it is. And so that worked out. That was really well. How it worked out.
It, like literally, as soon as I looked it up, you guys had just posted.
Bonk, right there. Yeah. So I was actually on the hiring committee for that position. Yeah. And we had interviewed, I think we had 6 people that we brought in out of like 200 or some 250 applicants or something like that. And we brought in 6 people. And I will tell you guys, and I'm not just saying this because you're sitting here. I'm not. I would say this if you weren't sitting here.
I believe he's lying.
No, seriously. But I will say this: there is no one who got me in any way excited that I wanted to work with until you came in and started talking. And I thought, I want to work with that guy. I don't even care. You could have put like a big old pile of mud up on the top of the table and passed that around your resume. And I'm like, pretty good looking piece of wood there. I think we should hire that guy. So it worked out really well. And so now you're here, and I know with every job it starts slow. I understand that. I witnessed it. I saw it. Yeah. But now you want to tell them kind of what you've produced since you've been here. And can we show them anything? Can we show them like a
sure.
Faces thing or something?
Yeah. I don't have my laptop. Do you have yours?
I don't. I have my phone.
Sure. Okay.
Where is it?
The Faces is not out yet. So it's
So
still
you can't
on the Dropbox.
So you got a laptop.
Ironing Nation is available.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is kind of fun. Does anybody want to donate a laptop?
Sure.
Nice. So anyway, while we're doing that, tell them what you are currently working on.
Yeah, okay, so right now we are working
How that
for
works.
a commercial spot for the Big East tournament. So I just finished up the script for that. We
Sounds
shot
like
it.
pretty much what you were looking to do.
Yeah. You have to tell me your name again, please.
Lauren.
Lauren was actually involved in that, so she's gonna be famous.
Oh,
No, she did a great job.
I know.
We casted students.
Largely
We wanted
majority,
to show the diversity of Xavier, the different faces, and who you guys are. You know, so we did that.
Can we where can we actually access that from the web?
I can.
From this nice
How would you be able
laptop that
to-
we've been provided?
I can get on my. Do you ever? Can you get Dropbox on your phone? Remember
yeah.
I sent you the link and you watched it from your phone because you were in the office.
Okay, well anyway, send them the Jesuit, send them the Jesuit
Okay.
site. I mean, at least know something done.
Cool. So you
Just
said
like we were saying on the phone.
you said starting off slow, but ironically this was like my first week.
Oh, that is true.
I come in and mission and identity is working on something for the adjunct faculty. So they do something every year for the adjunct faculty that basically like helps
It's just so ridiculous.
provide like better methods of teaching. They knew they wanted to do something. Anybody know about the whole Jesuit mentality? I went to St. X, so I'm familiar with it.
So the big thing that they want to do is they want to help educate
Yeah.
adjunct like me or whoever else, right?
Mhm.
They want to help educate us on the Jesuit values and how those then can be employed in an educational way. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
So apparently, I think it was like one of the other Big East schools. It was like Georgetown.
Fairfield.
Oh, one of the Jesuit schools. I'm sorry, Fairfield, which is in Connecticut, did a video, and you can imagine. I mean, it was so weird.
Yeah, it was
Like,
a talking olive.
It was so weird. Right? So like apparently like all these people sat around a room like this, right? And they were like, all right, how can we best convey the Jesuit values in an educational setting? How do we do? Maybe a talking olive would work. It was so strange. So what? So basically, what we had Laurent do was we want a better version of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So did you come up with the Iron Chef thing?
Yeah. So what they said they had. So what's it called? Pedagogy.
Yes.
Right. Ignatian
Pedagogy.
pedagogy.
You know what that is?
Context, experience, evaluation, reflection, action. And they knew that they wanted to frame them as like a recipe or like ingredients, but they didn't know how they wanted to go about it. And so they've been going about that for like 3 weeks back and forth. So my first week, my boss, Doug Rushman, VP of Marketing, really cool guy. I don't know if you guys met him. He teaches Goa. And he was like, hey, I want to show you this video about this olive. And I was like, all right, I'm a week in. And I was like, oh Lord, is this how it's going to go?
What have I got myself?
So he showed me the talking olive, basically breaking down who Saint Ignatius is and everything like that. And I'm familiar with it because they used to talk about that in high school all the time. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, so we want to do something like this, lighthearted and fun, but not like that. But we want to focus on pedagogy for adjunct faculty. What do you got? I was like, no, give me like 24 hours. So I feel like I really had to flex because it's my first week,
What are
right?
your ideas about something fun
Yeah.
about Ignatian pedagogy?
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, I really got a cool idea. I'm like, let's do something that incorporates, cooking shows. Because we're trying to frame them as like chefs, and you want to look at pedagogy as recipes that they have to learn how to make to really engage the students. So let's have a master chef. Let's have 2 adjunct faculty, and let's have them in a competition, almost like chopped.
I remember you saying this, and I just remember being like, I think this is kind of like the olive all over.
Yeah.
I was like, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
And I'm your champion too,
Yeah,
man. I'm
yeah.
like, yes, good idea. But I'm just like, I don't know, this is gonna work.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it really
so
did. So
it worked out really well. So we shot it.
So you guys want to see this?
Yeah.
What you came up with?
Is there a glare? Is the volume good?
Should I turn off the
I
lights?
think the volume should.
One master, 2 seasoned competitors,